My wife has a fun story from her youth. It was a work day, summer or a weekend work day, and her dad asked the kids to go move the woodpile. And so they went and moved the woodpile. And then he found out later they didn't move the right woodpile. He had meant the scrap woodpile versus the firewood pile, something like that. And, how should he respond? Well, he is a mortal. We're all flawed mortals. But ultimately he was very understanding that they had done the best with what knowledge they had, with what experiences they had. And he applauded them for doing the job, but then helped them do the right woodpile, get the job done the way it needed to be done. And I like that story because I see analogies with it in the understanding of goodness versus truth. So in that case, the thing that needed to get done was moving the correct woodpile. There was a correct woodpile that needed to be moved. But good, honorable, loving kids moved the wrong woodpile. But they thought they were moving the right woodpile. They thought they were doing the right thing. And so as we think about life, and we think about the different religions that are out there, there's a compromise to be had. There are different faiths who believe differently. Yet there's often within most of those faiths that everyone's good, that there's goodness everywhere. And so how do you reconcile those? Is there a true church, or is there a right and a wrong? And we're growing in academia, at least. We're growing with an idea that you can't define a right. Right is ambiguous, or it's relative. And as a scientist, I can't settle with that. When I drop a ball and I figure out how the gravitational force scales with distance, it's 1 over r squared. I can't choose that to be different. That is a truth. It is an empirical truth. And in religion, I have the same desire. I want something stable. I want there to be a right way to do something. I want to know, what is the right way? What is the right way a society should behave? And I believe, like many other people, that love is, if not just an essential ingredient, it's the most important essential ingredient in it. But unlike a lot of society, I don't believe it's the only thing you need. Because love can take you in many different directions. You can move the wrong woodpile. Okay? And I believe there is a right way to describe God, a right way to describe what he desires for his children. And there are right ways to do things. And so how do I feel good about that in a world that has so many different beliefs that we want to celebrate? We want to include. I want to include, but how can I say I'm right, or I believe in a right, which means there are wrongs? How can I do that while loving and supporting and celebrating the differences? And a big reason why I can, and I feel comfortable in feeling like I have truth. I found truth in my faith, in my religion, in my understanding of God. But I love seeing the devotion of many others who believe different than I do, even conflicting beliefs. That I'm honored by them. I applaud them. And it comes from my belief that God truly is a loving God, and he holds everybody accountable for what they are accountable for. And like the example of my wife and her father, were the kids accountable for making that mistake in which woodpile? No, there were 2 woodpiles. It wasn't clear which one was which. It wasn't their fault. They did the best they knew how. And so I believe there is a right way. And I will even be bold to say I believe there is a right church on the earth, a right pattern of religious behavior and beliefs. But I believe that everyone will be given a chance to become fully accountable. And that might not be in this lifetime alone. I believe in a time after this life where God will be able to clarify, open up views, pull back confusion, and be able to give everyone everything they need to make that choice, to be able to choose what is right versus what isn't, to be able to uphold truth or argue with it. But he's not going to condemn anybody. He's not going to limit anybody who is trying to move the woodpile that they felt their father asked them to move, who is doing their best to do what they believe is right. They will need to choose truth in the end, but God will give them that opportunity to make it with all the data, with all the information necessary to be able to make that choice and be fully accountable for it. That's how I can justify. I believe in a truth, and I try and help people learn about what I think is true and invite them to, to figure that out, to choose. But if they don't, I'm proud of what they do with their best efforts. I love to see the goodness and love that dominates so many other faiths, so many other cultures, so many other social philosophies. I love it, I'm proud of it, and I love to work side by side with all these different people. But I do believe in a truth, and I believe that one day, either in this life or after, we'll be able to fully see that truth and decide whether to follow and choose it.